design it your own way. In the long run, we need to know that it's better to rely upon yourself and your own family and your own doctorate decisions than it is for any third party or any big company or certainly the government to handle all these problems. Long-winded answer, complex problem.
My question is, last week the Castro regime, he said the United States they prepared the 9/11. And my second question is, what do you do if you're president and Castro regime they send us another boat lift against the United States?
Well, he needs to understand that would not be a good idea for him. I've been thinking about, I'm not diverting your question, I'll get back around to it. I've been thinking about Iran lately. You know, for many years now, we have been trying to cooperate with and appease and work with and make deals with the Iranian leaders, Khomeini, Ahmadinejad, Khatami, all these people. Oh, this one's going to be real moderate. You know, we make a deal with him. Playing us like a fiddle. Dictators, tyrants are the same the world over.
That's right.
You cannot depend upon them to keep their word. We're dealing with North Korea now. North Korea is unique in one particular aspect in the history of the world. They have never kept a deal that they have made. A lot of similarities there. Brings me back to Castro. He simply needs to understand. And frankly, I think maybe the message has gotten to him for right now. And he kind of threatens these things from time to time. We don't have to lay all of our cards on the table. He just needs to be told publicly and privately that this would be a very bad idea for him to do. Yes, sir.
Yes, I want to welcome you here to Miami. I also want to say good morning to everyone here. And I'm a big believer in democracy. If you have no idea how it works, green flag, and if you like our plan, I'd like to position you.
We live in I'll listen to any plan that you can. We live in a democratic republic. We elect representatives. Sometimes there's a little lag time between the people and the representatives. There's no question about that. But we can't have ballot boxes on every telephone pole, so some issue comes up, you run and vote on every issue that comes up. From the very beginning, our founding fathers saw the wisdom of a democratic republic, and we work through our elected leaders. Our elected leaders sometimes, and as you know, in the House side, they're elected every 2 years, so they're closer to the Senate than the people. Our founding fathers, in their wisdom, talk about these first principles of eternal truth and human nature. The way that sometimes we tend to err, especially in the short run, but the way that we can come together and do, human beings can do wonderful things too, especially when they've had a little bit more thought about it. So they said, well, let's have senators elected every 6 years. And they put together that plan. And frankly, it made it quite difficult to get anything real major through. And the president's got to sign off on it. And that served us pretty well. Unfortunately, sometimes when you do have a real problem that you need to address, it's too slow. But the American people can address that. Ultimately, it comes back to the American people. And I wouldn't be too caught up in these public opinion polls as to what people believe at any moment or another moment. A lot depends on how the question is answered. A lot depends on things that maybe the general public does not know yet, that leaders do know and foresee. It's not the role of the leader to keep his finger in the air all the time and try to reflect exactly what 50 and 1/2% of the people happen to think about something all the time. It's his role to be a leader, to lay out up front what he believes in and his principles that he will apply regardless of what problem comes up that cannot be foreseen today, perhaps. And then if the American people disagree with that, if that doesn't work out, if they don't say to themselves, well, I disagree with Fred, but I know he's telling us the truth, and I know he's doing what he thinks is right, we're going to wait to see how this works out. If it doesn't work out, Fred is gone, one way or the other. And if it does work out, they say, he'll go down in the history books as someone that they would call a leader. Look at our history books. Look at the presidents we revered. Strong. Look at what George Washington went through before he even became president. When everybody said, you've lost. And he couldn't hardly keep his own people together. They were frostbitten. Some of them didn't have shoes. Blood in the snow. There were an awful lot of Tories back home in those days. It wasn't unanimous. And he persevered. That's our history of great leaders throughout the country. And that's what we need to do.
Senator, what elected president you will inherit the war in Iraq? Last night, President Bush addressed the nation. What was your reaction? He tied troop production to success.
Yeah.
How would you define success in Iraq?
Yeah. I think that he is reflecting what he was told by the man who was unanimously nominated as a great general to go down there and lead our troops, who has a reputation not only for ability but for truthfulness. He comes back and says part of a success scenario, no artificial deadlines, no cutting and running, but as a part of a success scenario, we can have a reduction of X number of troops by Christmas and probably a reduction of Y number of troops by next summer. As long as it's part of a success scenario, obviously we need to do that. Our troops are stretched thin. There's no question about that. We took a holiday from history back after the Cold War. We reduced our military by about a third. We cut back on procurement and things of that nature. We're paying for the price for it now. I'd like to say it's all black or all white. It's not. Because as strong as I feel about these issues, I must recognize that our troops are stretched thin and our equipment is wearing out. We must learn from this, not wallow in the past, but learn from this and do better in the future. And I think this is a part of a success scenario. I have total confidence in Versailles, and I'm glad that the President's following his recommendation. Current retirees have no problem in terms of financial security as far as the government is concerned. However, future generations, before long, the next generation and beyond, nobody really knows the numbers because they're all dependent on hypothetical scenarios. They're all dependent upon statistics and the growth of the economy and all that. But clearly, in the not-too-distant future, the only thing that we cannot do is the status quo. The status quo. When you say, you want to do this? No, I don't want to do that. You want to do the other? No, we can't do that. That's the problem here. My friends, we cannot continue the status quo.
Right.
And it's politically difficult because it's going to cause a great debate. And the politicians who are more interested in the next election than they are the next generation will start running 30-second ads attacking you and saying you're trying to destroy Social Security, you're trying to destroy Medicare, when the only thing that you're trying to do is preserve it. And preserve it in a way that the next generation is not paying such astronomical taxes that they can't survive and will destroy our economy. That's the path in which we're on. But in all honesty, it is not a current retiree issue. There will be nothing done, I predict, and nothing needs to be done with regard to those who are currently retired. Baby boomers start retiring at 62-year-olds, front end of the baby boomer next year. Next year. Are we going to wait until we're swamped? Until we have to do drastic things before we face up to it? I don't know that anybody else is talking about this on the campaign trail. It's the biggest single threat to our economy that's facing us. But it's not tomorrow or the next day, so nobody wants to deal with it. I do not put my political future ahead of what's best for the long-term security of this country, whether it's militarily or economically.